What's the most unexpected thing that happened to you while having sex? My ex was a screamer, and every time she came, without exception, my dog would howl in sync with her scream. Didn't matter where in the apartment we were. I can only imagine what the neighbors thought. Roy, call the police, he's ducking that dog again. Your dog was covering up the evidence. She's singing the song of our people. My college girlfriend was giving me head one morning, after my roommate left for class. As I'm about to my roommate walks into our room. My girlfriend flew off of me, grabbed the blanket, and pretended to be asleep, leaving me completely uncovered. My roommate and I make direct eye contact, as I finished all over myself. He saw into your soul. Sounds a little too familiar. Giving my boyfriend a hand job, as my mom walked in to ask me to feed the dog before we left. I thought I stopped in time, but mid-conversation, I started feeling warm semen dripping onto my leg, as this was only yesterday. I haven't spoken to her since. Not sure I'm looking forward to the next time I see her. When I lost my virginity, at the peak of orgasm, my partner whispered, "Melons," in my ear. Melons to you also. They were obviously trying to open the door to Moria. Feeling like my stick was on fire and about to explode for 15 minutes because my wife used some new spermicide that apparently I was allergic to, and she didn't bother to tell me she was using it. Worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Payback. Oral sex after very spicy food. Satan, who let you back on the internet? I had something similar happen. Boyfriend has a burrito with lime earlier and hadn't washed his hands. We started messing around. Then all of the sudden it started hurting a little. And I was just like, oh. Then it kept getting worse. To the point I was screaming and crying. Ran into the bathroom and jumped in the shower. Worst pain I have felt down there in my life. Worst pain ever. I had a girl riding me in cowgirl position. Popped out, came down, and now my stick has an extra bump that it didn't used to. That pain was pretty ducking intense, and I was out of commission for a week. Similar to this, the first time I ever had sex, it was with a condom. I felt like a rock star and ducked for like an hour before I got off. The girl said it was the best sex she ever had. It was always that way with her. A while later, I come to realize that I'm sensitive to the latex, and it made my stick go mostly numb. Not just it cuts off feeling derp, but it actually went mostly numb. Like if I put a condom on for a minute, took it off, then tried to have fun time with myself, I'd barely feel it. I switched to polyurethane condoms, and the first time I had sex on those lasted about 3 minutes. First serious girlfriend. Ended up with a hospital visit and stitches on her vagina. There was blood everywhere. She was on top, and instead of going up and down, she was moving backwards and forwards, harder and faster, until suddenly she moved too far. Out popped my stick, like a champagne cork, and as it came out at such an angle and speed, it tore her vagina. Most awkward hospital visit ever. Happened to me, too, except I am the girl. And it was my first time. So, it didn't happen during vigorous ramming and ducking, but just the insertion. Hospital visit, stitches, drugs, the whole 9 yards. I don't know how my boyfriend felt about it at the time, but I had lost so much blood that the whole thing seemed pretty awesome to me. Girl I went out with finally convinced me not to use condom. Decided to pull out rather than inside. She thought I was going to inside. As I withdraw to on her belly, she bucks her hips a little. In missionary position anyway. Stick bounces off her mound mid-orgasm. Hit myself in the face with own semen. She finds this hilarious. After a few years, so do I. Before going further, you can support our work by joining our Patreon from the link in the description, starting only from $3 a month, which provides exclusive perks. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. My mom walked in on this girl and I having drunk sex. It was missionary, so she got a great view of my SS. She stood there in shock for just long enough for me to turn. and make eye contact. Not too exciting, but I still remember that look on her face. Did you continue while maintaining eye contact? Maintaining eye contact is very important. Related, except I was sticking my GF, and her grandmother walked into me, pounding her favorite granddaughter. Had to take a 30-minute break. I still feel horrible about it. My roommate told me of the same thing, except he was eating out a girl, and they were in the garage, while his mom was having some business party or function in the house. He had just met the girl, and they both went and got high, then started ducking. She, his mom, just stood there and called his name in disguise. He said he was so high, he just turned to look at her from eating the sussy, smiled, and went back to doing it. I was giving my wife oral in a 6-9 type position and thought I was doing an awesome job because she was making some grunting noises and trying to pull away. I thought I'd be dull man and source her to and held my ground, so to speak, and stayed in there. Well, about 3 seconds later, I heard a poot and felt a burning sensation in my nostrils as the 98.6-degree heated methane was forcefully transferred from inside of her to inside of me. We laughed for a few minutes and let the air clear a little, and then went about our business. Wife and I were trying a new position. Apparently the upthrust of me inside her was enough to cause her to pee. She's lying there, hands covering her face. I'm standing there slightly inside her, feeling the full force of her pee against me, and forming a puddle on the floor. Wait for the flow to subside. Get a towel and continue. Enjoyed it. Thought it was just a fluke. Trying the same thing a few weeks later. Same thing happens. Apparently I found her internal pee release spot. I was sitting on the couch, and my wife was in the cowgirl position, and I feel a tickle on my balls. So I look around to see my cat helping himself to the tasty lube on my testes. So you had a threesome with your cat. Incredibly related. My ex-GF was on all fours, and I was eating her out from behind. My asshole starts to tickle. It was my cat. Essentially created a human centipede with my cat. I was 17 and burking in my bedroom when I decided, for no reason at all, to shoot it out my bedroom window. Moments later, my dad hollers for someone to come help him. By the time I get downstairs, my sister is wiping off my dad's back with paper towels, and he is teaching about some bird crapping on him while he cleaned the flower bed. TLDR, I shot a load on my dad's back, and my sister cleaned it off. I was going at it incredibly hard, doggy style, on the couch with the FWB, and felt a stinging sensation on the inside of my stick. Didn't really think much of it, because it didn't hurt too bad, and I didn't want to interrupt the fexy times. I tell her, I'm about to and she turns around and gets ready for me to unload into her mouth. As I spray about a full cup of blood into her mouth and all over her face and chest. She thought it was hot. I was terrified and extremely apologetic. She was a little worried. She broke my stick. My doctor said I blew a blood vessel because of the SX being so intense, and said not to have SX for 2 weeks. FWB gave me gentle blowies for the next 2 weeks. Weird times, man. Laid a friend on top, going bananas, on the verge of orgasm. Grandmother walks in, looks amazed, walks out, then says, I didn't know you had a visitor. I jump up and lock the door. Mood killed, but we get back to it. Maybe 20 minutes after the first surprise entrance, Grandma walks in again, mid-coitus like before, ducking faulty door lock. Late a friend was not pleased, and I caught hell. However, Grandmother was late-stage Alzheimer's at that point. No new memories formed, beyond 5 minutes or so, which is why she walked in the second time. And that's how I sleep at night, knowing that image never got recorded to her brain. My girlfriend hopped in on me mid-shower one morning. Things got interesting, and she decided to feign dropping the soap to facilitate. She went to turn around and bend over, and she slipped. She grabbed what in her mind was the sturdiest load-bearing structure in the vicinity, my fully erect stick. She fell backward out, halfway through the shower curtain, and her legs slid around me and caught against the wall behind me. There is a pop, like a knuckle cracking, and we stood there, full eye contact. I froze, my arms outstretched to catch her. She looked up at me, like some strange bird struggling to tear a stubborn worm free from the soil. Shower seggs, not even once.